Hello, and in this week's episode, we are talking about how you can add a steady and recurring income to your freelance business.
Welcome back to JFDI with the Two Lauras. This is the weekly show where we talk about all things to do with working as a freelancer in the social media marketing space, whether it's finding clients or adding diverse income streams to your business, content ideas, inspiration, all of the stuff. And in today's episode, we're diving into recurring revenue and how you can add a reliable income stream to your business with a membership. Now, before you think, oh, that's too advanced for me, don't worry, we're going to start the basics. We're going to explain who can and cannot have a membership. And by the end of this show, hopefully you will want to have one too. Before we dive in though, we would always love to hear from you. So please come and chat with us over on Instagram. We are at the Two Lauras. Come and let us know whether you think you might start a membership after this episode. And yeah, let's get straight on. So shall we start with why we think people should have a membership?
So for me, I think the benefit to us as having a membership is that it, as we said right back at the start, it's giving you a new income stream. That means that you're not relying solely on clients, because we all know what happens when a client says, ta-ra, you can lose a massive chunk of your income. So it's kind of giving you that steady income that you can have running alongside your clients, which means you have less risk in your business. So that's kind of more why I think freelancers should do it. But I also think it creates a nice variety. That's something that I always need when I can't just do client work. So having that variety in my business, in my brain, just helps keep my kind of love of the business going. They would be my top two reasons why a membership is a good idea.
Yeah, and I think also if you're somebody like I get real pleasure from seeing people kind of develop, grow, build their confidence, get results, etc. And you can really do that well in a membership. Like, yes, you can do it on short-term services like Power Hours, etc. But then it's kind of like they move on and you never hear from them again. Whereas when somebody's in your world for a long time, you kind of are seeing them go through a journey and you're helping them to move through that.
More
and
invested
really,
as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like huge job satisfaction. But also a membership can be really good if you have, and we're always talking about this, like if you've got clients coming to you and they cannot afford your management fees, don't drop your management fees, offer them something else. And a membership is perfect to offer somebody else if they can't afford for you to do it for them, because there's so many different types of memberships, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But there could be some sort of way where you're doing something with them on a lower price point, or you're doing something for them on a lower price point, but it's so that they can still stay in your world and benefit from your expertise and knowledge without you having to offer them a discount to do everything for them. And hopefully at some point, because of what they've done or learned or what have you in the membership, whatever it is that you're doing, at some point they will be at a point where they can go, actually, I've got what I needed from this now. I'm ready to take the next steps and I can outsource, and you could take them on as a full-blown client if you wanted to. So it's quite a good route in that way, and kind of in terms of a funnel, I suppose. It doesn't have to be, but it can be a really good way that way. And I think as a membership owner, when we very first started our membership, well, before we started it, Laura was so like, I don't want a membership. Do not want one. And it took quite a lot of convincing, didn't it? And I'm sure there's probably people listening now going, yeah, but it sounds like a lot of commitment. It sounds like a lot of work. And don't get me wrong, it really can be. And we'll talk you through some of the mistakes that we've kind of made and the truths we've learned along the way. But it doesn't have to be that way. And there's things that you can do that you can make a membership easier to run and less kind of heavy. Like, we definitely haven't done that. So it doesn't have to be a big, bulky, time-consuming, time-sucking thing. If that's like your immediate thought, thinking, oh God, I could never do that.
Yeah, and I think the misconception is that a membership is these big and bulky things.
Yeah.
And they really don't have to be. And I think in recent years, we've seen some really kind of innovative, creative ways to have memberships in your business that aren't heavy and they aren't full of commitment and lots of time in your diary. So if you can think creatively, and we can come on to this, but there are some real great opportunities to give that support to businesses who can't afford you, for you to be able to be attributed for the person who helped them to make that progress. And we all know in social media, success doesn't happen overnight. So if you can be with somebody and support them in whatever capacity that is as part of your membership over a longer period, you're more likely to be someone who is going to be attributed to having helped someone have a success in their business, which is obviously brilliant for you and your social proof and your results and your growth.
Yeah. And I think there's probably a bit of an elephant in the room whereby some people will be like, yeah, but memberships don't work anymore, because that's kind of messaging that's put out on social media when people want to tell you to do something else that's not a membership, right?
Yeah.
And that's not true. If you think about all the different memberships there are in the world, like Costco and all of the kind of those massive, like, what do you call them? The supermarkets. I can't think what the word is that I'm looking for. Anyway,
Shops?
all of those shops where you have to be a member to go and shop in them.
Yeah.
That's a membership. The Netflixes, the Primes, all of those sorts of things are memberships. If you think about any subscription that you pay in your personal life, like, they're memberships. And in business, they're less easy to it's less easy to cancel a business membership because it's having an impact on your income, right? It's helping you to make money that you could spend. It's far easier to go and cut out all of the personal things you're spending in your personal life and go, well, hang on a minute, I think I can do without Netflix for a few months because I've also got Prime and I've also got Apple TV and blah, blah, blah. Because they're just bringing entertainment and joy, if you like, into your life. They're not bringing money into your business. Whereas a social media membership, theoretically, if the members are using it well and depending on what you're doing, it should be having an impact on their bottom line. So, like, why wouldn't it continue to work?
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah, there we go.
And I think some people do think, oh, well, I can't do this. I'm not ready for this. I'm not an expert enough. Or maybe I just need to work with another 20 million clients before. But at the end of the day, if you have enough skill and knowledge to provide one-to-one services to clients, i.e. social media management, ads management, whatever it may be, then you have enough skill to be able to support people in a membership for probably a far lesser investment than your clients are paying you. So if you feel like you haven't got that skill, then you're wrong, assuming that you're already working with clients, because if you've got that skill, then you wouldn't be working with clients. No, if you didn't have that skill, you wouldn't be working with clients. So I think there's a lot of people who think, oh no, this isn't for me. I don't know enough.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the other way around. Like, you need less knowledge, less skills potentially to have a membership than you do to go and actually work for a client and do all the work for them. Because in a membership, there's, like, depending on how you run your membership, but a lot of it is you're just sharing theory and knowledge and, like, experience rather than actually going and doing the stuff for them.
Yeah.
So, and if you're working with a client, let's say you're working with a client and you're on a call with a client and they ask you a question, you don't know the answer. You're literally face to face with that client. You've got to quickly think, how are you going to answer it? Whereas if somebody is in your community or in a Slack channel or what have you, asking you a question, you've got breathing space to go find the answer if you don't know it. So it's much more forgiving, I think.
And I think sometimes you're already halfway there, aren't you, when you work with clients? You've already someone who is creating templates. You're already someone who is keeping on top of the trends. As you say, you're dealing with questions all the time. You're from clients, you're answering those questions. All of these things could totally be the whole membership or just a small part of your membership. So you're already doing these things. It's just about doing these things for a bigger audience, essentially.
Yeah, and sometimes it's easier to be looking after a group of people than it is just one person who's quite demanding on your time.
Yeah, especially if you can develop like an engaged community.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then that just equally helps.
Yeah. So let's talk about a couple of kind of ideas that you could have as a social media manager to create a membership, because I think a lot of times people, especially if you've been in memberships like ours or other memberships that are out there, you think that there's one way to have a membership whereby you have a community, you have monthly calls or training, and everything's very rigid and set. And that's not the case. Yes, that is how our membership works. We have a community, we have a members portal with lots of, training, etc. We have monthly masterclasses, we have monthly coaching calls, we have a directory. Like, this list goes on and on. We have a lot of stuff in the Inner Hub to support social media managers. That doesn't mean that that is the only way to create a membership. And it doesn't mean that that's how you have to do it. You don't have to have coaching calls. You don't have to have monthly training. You don't even have to have a community. Like, there's so many things that you could just take one thing and turn it into a membership. So we're going to dive into a couple of ideas that you could do, but we've put together like a whole list of ideas to really kind of get the inspiration and the juices flowing. So if you go to the twolauras.com/membership ideas, we'll make sure that link is in the show notes. If you go to that link, you'll be able to download a whole list of ideas that will get you kind of thinking about how you could run a membership in your own way. And yes, you could totally do the way that we do. I wouldn't recommend it. We'll dive into that a bit in a minute as well. So do you want to go first? An idea?
Yeah. So I think an idea that I've seen not loads of people do, not as many as I thought I would see out and about, but is templates, where you give people monthly or whatever period of time you want, Canva templates, maybe it's copy templates or structures, maybe it's real ideas, but something very simple that people could just tap into. They get it each month. It's going to help give them what they need for their social media, and it's going to be strategic, useful stuff. And I think even better if you've got a niche, which I won't go on my niche rants that I go on, but if you work within if you work within a particular industry, probably quite maybe a fairly broad one, I think these kind of things can work really well, because you can make sure everything is really positioned for that industry or that area of the world that you kind of specialize in.
Can we be really clear though on this? What we're talking about is a template membership where everybody in the membership gets the same templates. It's not that person one gets one kind of one and person two gets another kind. No. They're not personalized for them. It's generic for your membership, so everybody's getting the same thing, and how they use them could be different. But you're not doing the work 100 times because you've got 100 members. You're doing the work once, and they're doing the work to go and change those. And I think there's a lot of people think if they've got a membership, then they've got to do different templates for each different member, and that's not the case.
No. And I think going back to that kind of industry that you work within, it does depend, I guess, what works better. So some people, for example, like we wouldn't want Canva templates each month. We used to be in a Canva membership, but now we wouldn't want that. But we may sign up to something where we're gonna get like real ideas or LinkedIn copy templates or structures. So it really depends on who your target audience is as to what. Like, if your target audience is X and it doesn't align with Canva and pretty templates, but that's what you love, then there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
Isn't there? So it's just making sure that whatever you want to do, because what you want to do is your business, you can absolutely design it and deliver what you want to deliver that brings you kind of joy. You've just got to make sure it aligns with whoever your target audience is. But I think templates of varying different types is such a brilliant membership.
Yeah, love it. Okay, my second idea, or my first idea, but the second idea in general, would be, you get before Laura and I joined together, we used to have this all the time. We would have so many people coming into our DMs asking us questions, and they were always the same questions, or very similar kind of vein. And so we'd end up answering the same questions over and over again. And yes, that could be social content, simple, could be a blog, fine. But what if instead of it being that, it's some sort of recorded Q&A vault? So every time you get a question, either from your members or from the public, what have you, you record the answer. Maybe it's because it's a screen recording because you're showing how to do something. Maybe it's just a voice note talking through how to do something. Maybe it's a checklist, or a PDF, like press this, whatever. So it's like a Q&A vault, so that anytime anyone's got a question, they can go into this membership, they can look for the question, they get the answer. And yes, you could argue, yes, but you can go and ask ChatGPT that, or you can go and Google it. Yes, you can. But most people want an answer from an actual human. And we all know that ChatGPT gets things wrong. We all know that Google searches are sometimes out of date. If you're asking an actual human who is keeping on top of things that are changing all the time, and like Laura's niche rant are very niche specific, you're going to get better answers. And people love stuff like that. So I think you can answer these questions one way for one specific type of niche, give them really good value, and people will be like, this is great, I've learned something today. And sometimes it's just a case of them seeing that people have asked a question that they didn't even know was a thing. And people can learn so much from that, can't they? Like, you don't know what you don't know, but if you see somebody else asking it and you're like, learn the answer, then that can be really, really valuable. So I think that could be so easy to deliver.
Yeah, super easy. And I think another, my second idea, our third idea, is all about those updates that people need, whether it be the trends that are happening, because some of us aren't in the thick of it, or some businesses won't be. So although we might identify trends all the time, business owners are busy doing everything else. They're not necessarily looking for those things or are aware of them or know how to make that trend relevant to them. And likewise, updates on social media, we might see them all because of the communities we're in, or the things that we've signed up for. But again, your target audience might not have that at their fingertips like you do. So people can sign up literally to get what trends are happening or what updates are being changed on the platforms. And we all know there is never not an update each month. We it's part of our membership. We update social media managers on the updates. So you could literally just pull out that part and deliver that as a recurring update that you send to people.
And like, you can make it really personalized by not just telling them, oh, there's this new feature on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, but telling them what it means, how it works, how they can use it for their niche, what happens when they use it, mistakes they can avoid by using it. And then like 3 months later, after it's come out, redoing it, looking back, being like, right, this thing came out 3 months ago. I told you to do this, this, and this. Actually, things have changed. Let's do this, this, and this instead.
Yeah.
Things like that are really good, because most people only share the update when it first comes out. And then that's it. They never mention it again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. That is really true. And I think the same in that vein with trends. So if a trend is trending, you can then say, okay, if you're this type of business, here's 3 ideas. If you're this kind of business, here's 3 ideas. So you can help people. So it's not just saying this trend is working. It's like, this trend is going to work. Try this. Here's some trending audio to use. Here's a load of ideas. Because that's what people struggle with, don't they? We can often see, and we're like this sometimes, aren't we? We were talking about one this morning. There was a trend, and we were like, oh, can't think of an angle. We just couldn't quite get the right angle to make it work for us. But if someone else was doing that legwork, it would make our lives a lot easier. So
so sign us up, yeah.
Yeah. So not only are you providing the information on what these trends or updates are, as Laura and I have both said, if you want to find ways to actually give the value to that, like, what does it actually look like for them, like handhold them through that process and then getting that content out there, or making them adapt and change their content depending on whatever it is.
Yeah. Nice. Love that. Okay. My next idea is some sort of live container. I want to say clinic, but that sounds a little bit too medical. But a live kind of call, maybe it's on Zoom or Butter, where you bring your members together, and it could be a kind of a coaching call, but it could be that you have given them content ideas, for example. They come on, they're like, right, this is what I'm going to do. You give them feedback on it. And it could be like monthly, you come on and you plan out like the content calendar for the members, etc. Like, there's so many different things you could do on a live call. It could just be they bring their content that happened last month and like their best or their worst. And you're like, right, this is why this was rubbish. This is why this was really great. And everybody learns from that sort of stuff, don't they? So, and when you're bringing people together and they get to know you and they get to know each other, that builds a really nice community feel. So I think that's like, if you can build in that live stuff, great. Don't feel like you have to, because it is time consuming, but sometimes that can be really valuable. And when I say valuable, I mean put an extra 0 on your price.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said in terms of these live kind of clinics for the accountability.
Yeah.
Now, and I think that you have to work quite well on your messaging with that, I think. Not everyone's going to jump at throwing money at accountability, but we all know when someone's paid for something and they've got the skin in the game, they're more likely to show up and then take action. So, you know, if you were to say to someone, oh, every 2 weeks I'm going to have a free live Zoom, come along and I'm going to make sure that you get all your content done for the following week, people are like, oh, I can miss that. And then they don't. But we all know businesses struggle to make time to actually sit down and get their content done. But if someone's got, if they're kind of paying for that, they've got that skin in the game, they're more likely to show up, which then means they're more likely to get their content done, which then means they're hopefully likely to see progress and impact in their business. And that will be attributed to the fact that they're coming back to you each month or week or whenever, however often, to do that content. So I do think accountability for businesses and allowing them the time to be able to implement all these things in the businesses that we, as social media managers, tell businesses that they need to do is really valuable. Slightly hard to sell, I think, but I definitely think it's valuable.
I think it's a harder sell if you're talking about it in terms of the deliverable of the accountability. Yeah. That's a hard sell. It's not a hard sell if you're talking about the outcome. And I think no matter what it is you're selling from a membership, people don't buy things because of the features. They buy things because of what those features will do for their business.
Yeah.
So if you're always focusing on the outcome and the results and the social proof and all of that stuff, then everything becomes an easier sell.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
The final thing that I think people can offer is just a community. Like literally a group. Could be anywhere. WhatsApp, Facebook, Circle. Yeah. There's loads of places now you can hold a community. It could even just be on Instagram. What's that? What are they called? Are they called communities?
Like a broadcast, or they have a subscription, don't they?
Yeah. So it can be super simple, but it can just be a place, it's like a safe space.
Yeah.
That people can come to and pay to be part of that. And it doesn't have to be any content that you create. You could literally just be answering questions.
Yeah.
As and when they have them. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's super simple.
And sometimes places like that can feel, when you're the owner, like they're dead because no one's engaging. But it's just the reassurance that they've got you in their phone that it's just like brings them confidence. And sometimes people that's just valuable to people.
Yeah.
So my husband, he was in a Patreon membership for a really way too long. He is obsessed with bikes, and he used to watch this guy on YouTube. And so he joined his Patreon. He never ever did anything. He never went and looked at anything, never looked at any of it. And I always used to say to him, well, why don't you just cancel it? He's like, yeah, but I know it's there if I need it. And he cancelled it maybe two months ago, but he was in it for years. And I asked him how many times did he look at it, and probably less than a handful. But he liked the confidence of knowing it was there.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And again, that kind of membership isn't going to be relevant to everybody. It's going to be dependent on what services you're offering. It's going to be about the audience that you have, the point in their business that they're at. I think that leans really well to things like more technical things. So if your audience are people who really struggle with a techie part of, I don't know, short form video or ads, I think is a brilliant, they know how to do, they know the theory of ads, they know the strategy of ads, but they often stumble at a few parts, or they really don't understand data. You could literally just have a membership about the data. It's like my dream.
Yeah. We're in an Airtable one, aren't we? And it's just literally like a ticketing system. So anytime I've stuck, I can just put a ticket in. And I could totally just go and ask ChatGPT those questions, but I get better answers if I go and ask a human. So it's just submit a ticket, and we don't even speak to them. Yes, they have calls, but I don't go on them.
Yeah, you get a real a real conversation, not a ChatGPT conversation, which as much as I love
it's
chatting
like more
with
bespoke,
ChatGPT, yeah, exactly. And they can give their first-hand experience. And I think that is the thing we all have to remember when it comes to the difference between what you offer and ChatGPT.
I'm way less likely to swear at them than I am to swear at ChatGPT. For sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's just some ideas that you can do. But if you go to thetwolauras.com/membership ideas, as we've said, we've got loads of ideas there that you can go and try. But before we round up, I thought maybe we should talk about like some of the things that we've learned along the way, because there has been some big mistakes. Like I've already kind of alluded to, our membership is big. There is a lot of stuff in it. We have massively over-delivered, over-committed ourselves. We've changed things, we've tweaked things. And a lot of that was because when we very first launched, when did we launch Inner Hub? 2020?
Yeah.
It was brand new to us. We were brand new at that. The two of us had only been in business together for a year, maybe. Way less than that when we first started talking about it.
It was just a year. It was like 1 year. Well, yeah, just over a year.
Yeah. So we were probably talking about it for 6 months. And we wanted to so this is during COVID, remember, where we wanted to over deliver. We wanted to make sure that people got what they needed to not only get what they needed for like from a social media manager perspective, but get what they needed to get through a pandemic, because things were really difficult. Things were really confusing. None of us knew what the hell was going on in the world. It was difficult. So we wanted to make sure that we gave people all the tools that they needed. And so we did give a lot, and we still do. But looking back, if we were to start again now, we wouldn't do that. Like, we would strip it back, or we would do it at a much higher rate.
Yeah, it would be one or the other.
Yeah, because you don't have to do it all.
Yeah, I think that's the danger with a lot of things. Well, probably not just for social media managers, that you just over deliver. We're people pleasers, aren't we? It's in our nature that we want people to be happy and we want people to feel like they've got everything they need, and you don't want them to go anywhere else, so you want to give them everything. But the reality is, if you give them too much, it can become overwhelming for them as well.
Yeah.
But also it can make them think, you know what, I'm not using all of this, so I'm going to leave. And it should never be like that. And like, we're in memberships that, well, as you've mentioned, we don't use all the features, and that's fine. We just take from it what we want. And we're in other memberships where we will literally, time goes by and we literally don't use it. But then when we need it, we like binge it. It's not like this, every month we're consistently using it. So everybody's kind of different. But I think if you can't deliver everything, then that is never going to be a good membership. So you have to be realistic on what you offer, and you've got to be mindful of what you can deliver, but also be mindful of what people can consume. Because at the end of the day, everyone has their actual businesses to run. They don't have the time to go kind of balls deep, so to speak.
Yeah, I think everything needs to be in there for a reason. Like, everything that's in the Inner Hub is in there for a reason.
Yeah.
There's no stuff in there that we're just like, oh, we should give them this as well. We should add this just because it'd be better. Like, it's all very much for a reason. Like, our masterclasses are for a reason, because we want to help you to diversify your income and making money easier. Our coaching calls are there for a reason, because we know that sometimes you get stuck on things. We want to help you to get past those challenges. Our quarterly planning business breakthrough calls are in there so that you can plan the next 90 days and do all those things that you've learned and actually make more, everything is very strategically. And
the directory is there, not just because it's like us to say, oh, look, you can come and join a directory, which we see others do.
Yeah.
The directory is there that we invest heavily in terms of ads, sending small businesses to go and hire, because we want you to have clients. Yeah. We want you to keep getting clients, because at the end of the day, if you keep getting clients and you keep being happy, then hopefully you keep paying and you keep staying in our world. And so all of the elements of the Inner Hub are definitely strategic. And we kind of, I guess, we over deliver because we were too probably excited,
and
too keen. at the start, but we don't over deliver as in it's too much. So there's kind of, it's a compromise.
No.
Like I hope we're not delivering anything that's shit.
No.
Because that's something that would upset us greatly. But there is also two of us. Yes. And I think you have to remember that.
And we have carries. It's not, and we have a team of freelancers. It's not just us doing everything.
Yeah. So don't go, I'm going to replicate what the Lauras do, but do it for my kind of niche. Don't is the answer. Like, especially if you're on your own.
Oh God.
Just keep it, because it is a commitment. You know, it's what Laura mentioned it a while ago in this, that I didn't want a membership when we first started, because the commitment of having things set in the diary I found really overwhelming, because, you know, I had really young kids. They were often ill, often off school. Like I just didn't feel like I could commit to having these set calls, a set masterclass, a set sounding board call in the diary. Like it used to make me feel like really anxious. But then obviously COVID happened and everything stopped. And so then I was like, okay, yeah, we can do this. And then we've obviously, as you know, kids have got older, life's got easier. And so you've got to make the right call for where you are in your business at the right time, which is why back in like 2019, when we started working together, a membership was just totally off the cards. You know, like I had a 3-year-old. It would have been an absolute nightmare. We'd have never been able to deliver what we deliver now 6 years ago. No. So make it relevant to what your situation you're in now and the short term foreseeable future.
And your membership can change like over the time. And ours has changed a lot. Like we changed call structures, we've changed deliverables. We had 2 memberships at one point, and we had one membership which we closed down, not because it wasn't working, but because it just wasn't right for us. It didn't feel right for us. Like the membership was great. The members loved it. They just weren't engaging. And for us, that was like, why are you giving us your money if you're not going to take action? And I remember saying to our members, we're thinking about closing this down because you guys aren't really doing anything. And they were like, no, please don't. So we didn't. And then in the end, we were like, no, actually, we're going to. We closed it down.
Yeah, we felt really bad. We felt awful. Felt like we were stealing their money because they just weren't. But they were like, please don't close it. And we were like, well, because we want people to take action. We want people to move the needle, so to speak. I hate that term. I don't know why I've just said it. But we want it, and that's not necessarily in an upward trajectory. Some people can just stay where they're at, but still change and learn and develop. And they weren't, but they were like, no. And it comes back to what we were saying earlier. They just liked the fact that they were in that membership and they could ask the right level of questions and get the right level of answers. And they trusted that we knew what we were talking about, and they just knew that was the place that they could answer those questions. And we were like, no, we're closing it. And they were like, no, please don't. And we were like, yeah. And we did in the end, and we did close it. And because that was the right thing to do for them more than anything.
But so like you can change things in terms of like taking things away or closing memberships down if they're not working, but you can also add stuff. So you don't have to start with everything. You can add things as time goes by. Like we are going to be adding something major to the Inner Hub in the autumn. I don't know if we've mentioned this on the podcast already, but so this could be brand new news to you, but we're going to be launching a platform within the Inner Hub, which will help you to deliver and sell a membership and various other things. And we're doing that because it's strategic, because we know that we want to help you to deliver these things. We know that there will be some people in the Inner Hub who want to have a membership, who want to help make it easier from a tech side for you to do that. And there'll be some people who want to deliver a course or want to sell like digital products or want to, have some sort of really well-maintained pipeline. And we want to make sure that you can do that easily. So the best way for us to do that is to give you the tech to do it. So everything is always strategic. Everything is always like, what can we give you that will help you to do this better? And when you're very first starting a membership, start basic, start small. You can layer things on as you go. You don't have to go in, as Laura would say, balls deep from day one and over deliver and give everybody every single thing that they possibly could ever need, because you can't kind of go back and take everything away if you do that.
No. And I think that's a really good point. Yeah, it's very hard to remove things, which is why, like, when Laura and I often come up with ideas, we're like, we have to sleep on it, because we think if we put that in there, we then can't take it out. So we have to be sure that it's the right thing. It's not going to overwhelm people. It's not going to be crap, so which is why, the amount of ideas we've had never come to fruition, because they're not good enough. So we just don't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't take them out once they're in there.
Yeah. But membership can be so good for your business. So, like, if you've listened to this and just thought, actually, maybe I should start thinking about a membership, go and grab that list. Grab yourself a notebook. Have a think about what kind of things would your audience want. Do you even have an audience yet? Do you need to grow one? And what could you give people that would be really, really helpful, that people would pay for every month? And just start from there. Start from scratch. Come and talk to us about it in the Inner Hub if you're a member, or in Instagram if you're not. And yeah, hopefully we can help you to get one off the ground. Be exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. There's so much opportunity. It's exciting.
Yeah, I just remembered back to when we very first launched the Inner Hub and how excited it was that very first week as well, the very first week of our launch. Laura and I were like, well, we would love to get 50 members. We'd love it. But we thought that was so far off that we would never have 50 members.
I think we wanted 35. I don't think we even wanted 50.
Okay. Yeah. And we ended up launching with 380 founding members, which is like amazing.
388.
And people have come and gone over the years. Some people have been with us since day one. Other people leave and then come back and what have you. And it's just amazing seeing people's growth and changes. And like, there's been babies born, there's been weddings, there's been so many different things that has happened with our members. And it's just been great, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. And even people who have left and moved on, that like we still follow them, we still chat with a lot of them. They are, we kind of watch them, and it's great to see. It's great to see how people's businesses have developed over time. It's always positive.
Love it. So there we go. Let us know what you're going to do. Come and chat with us, and we'll be back as usual, same time, same place next week. Ta-ra.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye.
Au revoir.